so far, there's a big future in store for this young lad. In only his first full year, he's already made a big impression on the American League. The thing I like about him is that he has an innate, inherent baseball intelligence that kind of allows him to be keenly aware of game situations while on the mound. You can also sense a rather special intensity that wants him to see the job completed. You combine all that with his repertoire and pitching style, and you're looking at an all-star.
And the umpires for today's game, the crew chief Don Denkinger is behind the plate. John Shulock is at first base, Larry Young at second, and Tim Cheetah at third. Tim Cheetah was behind the plate for last night's game, and Tom Davis visited with him before today's game and asked him his impressions of this new ballpark.
It's a beautiful place. It's you know, for a home plate umpire, it's nice because it's real easy to see the ball. They have a nice hitting background, and I was a little concerned with that last night because our two pitchers are pretty tall, and I thought, you know, we could have a possibility of seeing them come out of those buildings in center field, but it was real easy to pick up the baseball, and it seems to be a very fair park for the hitters and the pitchers as well. And it's just a great place. It's a really nice place to work.
Do you have to worry about a first game in a new ballpark? I mean, do you concentrate a little bit more than you would in a park that you know?
Well, you know, it's a good question. I always liked working in Memorial Stadium for the same reasons. You know, I knew what to expect when the ball was hitting the certain areas, you know, to catch that corner, or it was easy to see the ball on the pitcher's hand and everything else. And, you know, new surroundings for us is the same thing, you know, and we have to make our adjustments during a game that counts in the standings. You know, we don't get a chance to work any exhibition here or anything, and I was concerned about it, but after about the second or third inning, it felt really comfortable.
So you go from behind the plate to third base today. Now, is there such a thing as relaxing a little bit knowing that you're going to be at third base?
Well, you don't have to make so many decisions. The problem we say working third base is it can be the rocking chair on the field if nothing happens at third base, but some nights plays that do happen at third base are generally very important, so it requires a lot more mental preparedness as opposed to physical. There's not going to be a lot of draw on you running back and forth or doing anything like that, but plays at third that happen can always be very big, so you have to expect the unexpected.
Defensively for the Orioles this afternoon, Jeff Tackett is behind the plate. Randy Milligan at first base, Mark McLemore at second, Cal Ripken at shortstop, and Tim Hewlett at third base. In the outfield, Brady Anderson in left, Mike Devereaux in center field, and Chito Martinez getting a rare start in right field. A gorgeous afternoon, temperatures in the 70s, bright blue skies, a little windy. And Mike Mussina makes his fifth start of the year. He is 3-0 so far.
Well, those numbers speak for themselves at 3-0 with a just slightly over 2-run run average. No, but the frightening thing about Mike from the perspective of opposing hitters is that his efficiency may increase even more. He's got such a practical grasp of things out there on the mound. He's got a major league arm, and there's just solid evidence in his own abilities, and it really places high expectations on himself. Why? Might you ask? Well, how does a fastball in the low 90s down a knuckle curve that's tough to pick up, and a straight change he throws for strikes, and better than average control? That'll do it for you.
Right now the wind is blowing in, which is to the pitcher's advantage.
And the ball wasn't traveling too much in batting practice. You don't see very many hit out at all.
The switch hitting Harold Reynolds will get things started for the Mariners. Reynolds hits in the leadoff spot against right-handed pitching. Against left-handers, he drops down and hits ninth with Henry Cotto leading off. Reynolds batting .256. Has just one hit in the series. 0-1 to Reynolds. Mike Mussina had a no decision in his first start in Toronto, and then has won 3 straight since, winning at home against Detroit 6-1, on the road in Kansas City and Minnesota. Reynolds tried to drag bunt for a base hit yesterday, but Rick Sutcliffe came off the mound to throw him out.
Well, that's a good play if you can get it by the pitcher. First baseman, third base, easily defensed if you bunt it in their direction. That's where he's most vulnerable, upstairs in the strike zone.
He says he's swinging the bat better left-handed than right-handed right now. first baseman, Randy Milligan. One down. Ken Griffey Jr. was originally in the lineup today, but he has been scratched, so Henry Cotto gets to start in center field. Griffey collided with the center field wall yesterday trying to take a home run away from David Segui. And the report is he has a back injury. I would imagine that occurred on a collision with a fence.
Well, he was hurting immediately after that collision, so you can bet that ball bit him good.
So the veteran Henry Cotto is in center field. Cotto, who's been with the Yankees, the Cubs, and the Mariners. He's always been pretty much a spare outfielder, but a good defensive outfielder, a guy who's very good at stealing bases, and he's been an excellent pinch hitter over the years.
Yeah, and he's even a good leadoff hitter. But he can play the outfield 4 or 5 days a week for this ball club, even with the lineup they put out there.
1 ball and 1 strike. Cotto sees a lot of action against left-handed pitching. He's batting .346 on the year. Another big crowd here today. Last night, 41,358. The smallest crowd to see a game at Oriole Park this year. And it was still a sellout capacity crowd here, but some of those tickets were freebies. Curve for a strike.
Well, because of the kind of velocity in that breaking ball that he has, he rarely flirts with danger early in games because of his strength. Practically unhittable early.
He has 2 knuckle curves. One he throws hard, which you just saw, and another one is more of an off-speed pitch.
He comes right after hitters with that 3-pitch assortment. 4 if you count that knuckle curveball twice.
Fastball is bounced to the third baseman, Tim Hewlett. And he throws out Cotto. Johnny Oates making a lot of changes in his lineup today, with Hewlett taking over for Leo Gomez at third, with Jeff Tackett doing the catching, with Chito Martinez moving into right field. But you've got to keep all of your players ready, and the only way you can do that is to let them play once in a while. You can't expect guys to come off the bench late in the game and be productive if they haven't played at all. Edgar Martinez has 4 hits and 8 at-bats in this series, and he takes a pitch low.
That was a good point, Mel. It's important to the morale of the entire ball club to get those players who don't play regularly the at-bats they need to stay sharp. I was in that category for many years in the platoon situation with Renegade. Your at-bats to stay to keep that hitting rhythm up at the plate.
It's one of the strengths of a guy like Tom Keller, the manager of the world champion Twins. He somehow finds a way to get guys into the lineup and keep them fresh. Marty Martinez coaching at third, Rusty Kuntz at first base. Line foul. And Martinez having a tough time getting around on the Mussina fastball.
Well, he doesn't have to pull the ball. You don't have to pull the ball against Mike. And if you try to pull the ball too much, you're probably doing yourself a disservice. You have to hit it where it's pitched. Because he can be so overwhelming on the mound early in the game.
High fly ball, left center field. Anderson and Devereaux converging. Brady Anderson makes the catch. Well, the Mariners are down in order in the first inning. For the Mariners, defensively this afternoon, Dave Valley is behind the plate. Tino Martinez at first base. Harold Reynolds, a 3-time Gold Glove winner, at second. Rich Amaral is the shortstop. And Edgar Martinez at third base. Greg Briley makes his first start in the series. Henry Cotto takes over for the injured Ken Griffey in center. And Jay Buhner is the right fielder for the Mariners.
Your attention, please.
Mariners trying to snap a 4-game losing streak, and they will send right-hander Rich DeLucia to the mound, making his 4th start of the year.
Well, I guess the best way to describe Rich is that he's primarily a fastball pitcher who works upstairs in the strike zone. It helps if you can register the heater somewhere in the 90s if you do that, but unfortunately he can't. Mid-80s is about it for Rich. Therefore, you better have pretty darn good control and a rabbit's foot out there on the mound to match, because pitching upstairs with average velocity can cause a lot of neck pain in the park or anywhere else. Still, if he has command, he can win because he knows how to pitch.
He won his first start against Texas, then lost 2 in a row in Chicago and at home against Minnesota. So he brings a 1-2 record into this game, and has been hit fairly hard in 13 1/3 innings. He's given up 22 hits and 3 home runs. And last year the gopher ball was a big problem for him. He led the American League in home runs allowed with 31. And that was 1 shy of the major league leader. Tom Browning of the Reds gave up 32.
He reminds me a lot the way that Dave Johnson used to pitch for the Orioles when he was here over the last few years. A lot of balls that are hittable at the plate, gives up his share of home runs. Going to see a lot of base runners, but he kind of hangs in, and he could be one of those, could be a survivor.
So Orville and Wilbur Wright flying in for the game. Later rivals. Here's Brady Anderson, who went 3 for 4 last night, including a 3-run homer. He's raised his average to 302. He's now tied for the league lead in RBIs with 22.
It's tough to pitch to right now. It's almost like pitching to a number 3, 4, or 5 hitter in that leadoff slot.
Off-speed pitch away, and it's ball 1 to Brady Anderson. Fastball in at the knees for a strike.
DeLucia must avoid throwing too many hittable pitches to the guys who are hot on this Orioles ball club. That's where he has to stay, right down there. Does not have the velocity to pitch up in the strike zone.
Mark McLemore will be the second man up in the inning. Rich DeLucia, who played college ball at the University of Tennessee, the same school that produced Mike Smithson and Rick Honeycutt. Slow bouncer, and DeLucia off the mound to take it. The toss to first. 1 out.
Second, the second baseman.
I'll bring up Mark McLemore, who's playing second base this afternoon. McLemore's been doing an outstanding job, hitting .364. His last 6 games, he's 8 for 19, driven in 8 runs, hit over 500 with men in scoring position. This guy may prove to be a real find. He's only 27. Strike 1.
Well, we mentioned it last night. Now he recognizes opportunity right here, and it's staring him right in the face at a position that he can handle.
He came up with the Angels in 1987 and was their starting second baseman at the age of 22. He had .236. He stole 25 bases as a rookie, but then fell out of favor in Anaheim and eventually moved on to Cleveland, where he was released. Got on with the Astros, a non-roster player, and he smokes one to center field.
Yeah, well, what has awakened people is that ability right there, his ability to hit the baseball. Upper body strength is there because he's worked out much more than just consistently.
So McLemore is aboard with a 1-out single, and that'll bring up Cal Ripken, who's gone 2 for 10 in the series. Actually 2 for 9.
We mentioned in the opening that Cal probably hasn't really participated to the extent in this offensive surge of the ball club like he'd like.
Like Cal wanted to bunt, and it's strike 1.
But still 11 runs scored and 11 RBIs. That's 22 total runs, and that's enough production for a single month.
DeLucia will have to keep an eye on McLemore, who has good speed. DeLucia does an excellent job of holding base runners. He allowed only 4 stolen bases all of last year.
Well, he gets a lot of practice, Mel. There are a lot of people on base. He's out there pitching.
Opposing base stealers were successful against him only 30% of the time last year.
But again, that's another similarity to Dave Johnson that we mentioned earlier.
Johnson was almost impossible to steal off. Low, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Looks to me like DeLucia had a little more success pitching in the National League because he pitches down so well.
Sam Horn waiting on deck.
At least right now, even though the book on him is that he pitches too much upstairs.
Ground ball fair digging for third. And the throw by Briley is not in time, and Cal goes into second.
I tell you, Mel, faking that bunt brought Edgar Martinez in just a step that Cal needed to get that ball by him. And Greg Briley in left approached this ball when it got by Martinez in a little too slow a fashion. And that's what enabled McLemore to go to third, and then Ripken scoot on into second base.
Cal will get credit for a double, but if Briley had thrown the ball to second base, he would have had Cal. He really had no play at third.
Now, if he'd have charged that ball like he should have, then I'm sure McLemore wouldn't even try to go to third base.
So the Orioles have two men in scoring position for Big Sam Horn. They went 0 for 4 last night and struck out twice against Eric Hansen.
On this field, in the infield and the outfield, you have to charge the ball as much in the outfield as the infielders do.
Inside ball one. Sam said because he hasn't been playing a lot lately, with the Orioles seeing a lot of left-handed pitching, he felt really impatient at the plate last night. He felt like he was jumping at pitches. Said today he's just going to go up there and relax and try to keep his weight back and let things fly.
Yeah, he said somebody's going to pay.
I thought Eric Hansen worked harder on getting Sam Horn out last night than he did any other hitter in the lineup. He really did a great job of pitching him, get ahead in the count, didn't have to throw him many fastballs. Fouled back. The only fastball he threw him, he drilled to left center, and Ken Griffey Jr. caught up with it. But for the most part, saw a lot of breaking balls and changeups, and Hansen had a good change last night.
Yeah, and he specialized in throwing it to Sam Horn. Some super changeups and off-speed pitches.
One ball, one strike to Big Sam.
Well, frankly, that's what I'd expect if I was in this afternoon.
Fastball in, and it's 2-1. But the key is to get ahead in the count. You can't. It's tough to throw off-speed pitches when you're behind in the count.
Yeah, unless you have the confidence in being able to throw them over the plate. Most pitchers don't.
Two and two.
There it is. Took a little bit off that little breaking ball he's got and threw it down, and he couldn't catch up with it. That's just good pitching right there. Hitters, when the count is in their favor, they expect something hard. And when they don't get it, they can look silly.
Talking about that first at bat last night when Hansen struck him out, he threw him a 3-2 changeup. I was talking with Sam about that. I said, why wouldn't you be looking for something off speed? First base was open. The right-handed hitter was on deck next. Why wouldn't you look for something off speed? And he said, oh no, you got to look fastball in that situation.
That's the hitting mentality that most hitters employ. You practically have to sacrifice an at bat.
Like he was looking for something off speed there, and he threw him a fastball.
DeLucia doesn't throw many changeups, but he does change off his breaking ball. And that's what Sam saw on that 2-1 pitch.
This is just a heater right down the pipe.
But that's usually indicative when you see a fastball hitter take a pitch like that of someone overthinking at the plate. But he'll bounce out of that.
Mike Devereaux, the hero 2 nights ago, when he drove in 6 runs with a pair of home runs, including a grand slam. Breaking ball for a strike.
DeLucia was working on a fork ball in spring training. And whether or not he's carried that over to the season remains to be seen. But that 2-1 pitch to Sam Horn looked awfully suspicious.
1 ball, 1 strike to Devo, who won 1 for 3 in last night's game. He's driven in 14 runs in his last 12 games. Two and 1.
I can see right now that DeLucia is the kind of pitcher that can unnerve a manager. Behind in the count all the time. Gives up long balls. See a lot of people on base.
Way inside. It is 3-1. He may have to come in with something pretty fat right now.
But if you're not a smoker, he could drive you to smoke.
Cal Ripken Sr. Speaking of smokers, at third, Davey Lopes, the first base coach. bases are loaded as Mike Devereaux draws a walk. So a single by McLemore, a double by Cal Ripken, and a 2-out walk to Devereaux loaded the bases, and Rich DeLucia is feeling the heat. Randy Milligan coming up with the bases loaded. Milligan, a very patient hitter with a good knowledge of the strike zone, and DeLucia will have to throw him strikes. 2 nights ago, Milligan walked 4 times in one game. Ball 1.
And I don't care who you are, what kind of skills you have on the mound, you never feel comfortable pitching to a hitter with people on base.
Falls behind 2-0, and now he's really in a tight spot. McLemore is at third base, Cal Ripken at second, Mike Devereaux at first. And DeLucia takes a little stroll back to the mound to collect his thoughts.
Now here's where you should be zeroing in on a heater. If you don't get it, then you have to take it. But DeLucia is practically forced into throwing one right down the middle.
This is a guy who allowed 31 home runs last year. Hitters feast on situations like this with a count in their favor. On the corner, 2-1.
That was a big corner on that pitch. He's sitting outside anyway. And the ball was about 4 inches off the plate. That's good for Rich.
2-2. So he's come back with 2 strikes after falling behind 2-0 to Milligan.
Fastball doesn't have a lot of movement on it. It's very straight.
Breaking ball grounded into left field for a base hit. McLemore will score. Here comes Cal Ripken, and it's 2-0. Randy Milligan with a bases loaded single to left, and the Orioles break first, leading 2-0.
Well, that was a nice piece of hitting right there. He waited, he waited, he waited. He almost cocked again twice up at the plate and then just punched it through the hole there on the left. And Riley's got to run a long way to fetch that ball as it continues to slow down as 2 runs score.
So Milligan delivers to give the Orioles the lead. And Chito Martinez steps in with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Ball 1 to Chito, who played Friday night, went 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. He has 3 RBIs on the season, and all 3 have come on bases loaded walks. He hasn't played much. Only 16 at bats this year. With Brady Anderson playing so well and Mike Devereaux performing admirably, both of those guys have become everyday players. And the only spot with any flexibility has been in right field, and Joe Orsulak has seen most of the action out there. So Chito's been the odd man out. 2-0 to Chito.
I'd like to incorporate his long ball bat into the lineup a little more often. But you mentioned that Oates can only play so many people.
An enviable problem. 2-1 to Chito Martinez. Mark McLemore got it started with a line drive base hit to center. Then Cal Ripken double to put runners at second and third. 2 batters later, Devereaux walked, and Milligan delivered a bases loaded single to drive in 2 runs. And it's 3-1 to Chito Martinez.
But Chito's got the kind of bat now that could dent that scoreboard and right on several occasions.
For a little man, he has tremendous power. bases are loaded again.
He's seeing a lot of respect this year in his ability to hit the ball in the air a long way.
It's the second walk given up by Rich DeLucia, and the pitching coach Dan Worthen heads out to the mound. Walks have really hurt the Mariners in this series. In Friday night's game, they walked 13 batters. Randy Johnson giving up 10 walks, in large part contributing to the Orioles' 15-1 victory.
Well, Plummer and Worthen are concerned because this is a pitcher they've got on the mound that has been hammered this season. He's throwing what appears to Plummer to be too many hittable pitches. He doesn't really have the velocity to throw it by too many people. And he's got to keep the ball in the park, especially right now.
Tim Hewlett comes up with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Hewlett playing third base today with Leo Gomez taking the day off. Hewlett is hitting .375 with men in scoring position. But he also has just 1 hit in his last 19 at bats. Strike 1. Strike. I think that utility role is one of the most difficult jobs in baseball. You've got to keep yourself ready to play several different positions. You've got to try to keep your stroke sharp somehow when you don't play every day, and be productive when you are in the lineup. It's very difficult. Line shot into right field for a base hit. Devereaux will score. Milligan will score. The ball gets by Buhner. Here comes Martinez. He'll score. Hewlett goes all the way to third. Jay Buhner misplayed, and the Orioles get 3 runs and now lead 5-0.
Boy, as soon as this ball was lashed up into the gap in right center field, there was a doubt whether or not Buhner would catch up to it. He just kind of slowed it down a little bit, but with people running and knowing they can score all the way from first base, you're going to pocket 3 runs in a hurry, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, it'll be scored as a triple for Tim Hewlett. No error. And it's strike 1 to Jeff Tackett. So a triple and 3 RBIs for Hewlett. And it's 5-0. 0-2 to Jeff Tackett, who's doing the catching this afternoon.
Sometime between at-bats for this lad, but you never hear him complain a bit. And he really is going to have to get used to this kind of a role.
Fastball is low, and it's 1-2 to Tackett, who hit his first major league home run off the Tigers' Frank Tanana on April the 18th here. Breaking ball is in there, and that ends the inning. But in the first, the Orioles sent 9 men to the plate, scored 5 runs on 4 hits as they jump out to a 5-0 lead over the Mariners. Baseball here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards as the Orioles have jumped out to a 5-0 lead. The Orioles, who are averaging 5.1 runs per game, highest in the majors, already have 5 of the first inning.
Yeah, well, and what we're seeing probably is an extension of what has been just another brilliant display of hitting and pitching and defense on the part of this Orioles ball club over the last several games, and it's something that most managers would like to see continue.
A look from the Jeep and Eagle Eye on a gorgeous day in Baltimore. And here's Kevin Mitchell still looking for his first home run. He's got 77 at bats without hitting a home run. And in his National League career, he averaged a home run per 13 at bats. So he is overdue. Ball 1 from Mike Mussina, who set the Mariners down in order in the first inning.
Yeah, to me, Mitchell is the kind of hitter that once he gets into one of those grooves at the plate, then he can pop out 4 or 5 in a week.
Foul back, and it's 1-1. Looks like he's bailing out. I'm not a hitting coach, but it looks to me like he's really pulling that front shoulder off the ball.
Well, he's got to make a quick study here. New league, new pitchers, new assortment of junk that he has to get used to. And maybe some hitters will see the ball well in this park and some others won't.
Popped up. Jeff Tackett takes a look, but it's out of play. Hitters who come over from the National League to the American League will tell you there's a definite difference in pitching philosophy, and that in the National League, pitchers will challenge hitters with hard stuff, but here in the American League, hitters see more breaking balls and change-ups and off-speed stuff.
Yeah, and I think that certainly varies between who's on the mound, because with Mussina out there, you're going to see more hard stuff with that occasional knuckle curve. I mean, everybody who plays this game on this level knows what the pitcher has out on the mound, but he doesn't know what order he's going to use it in against him.
Knuckle curve is bounced in the hole, gobbled up by Hewlett, over to first, got him! Oh, what a play by Tim Hewlett, robbing Mitchell of a base hit.
That's just a part of the flashy defense we've grown accustomed to from that position over the last couple of years, regardless who's down there, whether it be Gomez or Hewlett. But again, the versatility of Tim Hewlett being able to play several infield positions adds to the dimension and the value that he can add for this ball club.
So Hewlett has contributed with a leather as well as the bat. A triple his first time up to drive in 3 runs. Now a sparkling defensive play to throw out Kevin Mitchell. 1-0 to Tino Martinez, again playing first base. He's got 2 for 6 in the series. Tino was the cleanup hitter on the 1988 Olympic team, which won a gold medal. A lot of people think his swing is reminiscent of Will Clark's.
And if he can generate the kind of power that Will Clark can generate, he's going to play this game a long time.
Slow bouncer up the first baseline to Milligan. Step off the bag, and Moose makes the play. The Orioles will be difficult to beat, staking Mike Mussina to a 5-0 first inning lead.
Boy, you hate to fall behind a club that's playing so well, especially by 5 runs early. Kind of puts you in a hole you just don't feel you can climb out of.
Jay Buhner had both of his hits in the first game of the series Friday night. One of them a tape measure home run to left field. Ball 1 to Buhner.
Well, he's got the enormous strength of the kind of player that you'd expect to be able to hit the ball a long way. He's got a quick bat too. He doesn't have these long looping swings that a lot of power hitters have.
Changeup is inside, and it's 2-0 to Buhner, who began his career in the Pirates organization. Was traded to the Yankees and then on to the Mariners. He had 31 home runs for the Yankees AAA farm club at Columbus in 1987. Hit 27 last year for Seattle. 2-1. Looks like the pitchers are getting that outside strike.
Well, that's a good sign, because then you don't have to throw it over the heart of the plate too often. Batters hate to see it.
Fouled back, and it's 2-2 to Buhner. Greg Briley is on deck. 5-0 Orioles, second inning. Line foul. The Orioles won the first game of the series 15-1, with Ben McDonald going all the way and pitching a 5-hitter. Last night, Rick Sutcliffe gave them 7 2/3 innings. Todd Froworth, Mike Flanagan, Greg Olson finished up, with Olson getting the save, and the Orioles won 4-2. Their 4th straight win, and they're 8-1 here in this park. Knuckle curve is inside. It's 3-2.
Almost like a backup knuckle curve. But the pitching, you're right, Mel, has been exceptional. When you get that kind of pitching, then how good does the offense have to be? Almost acted like a backup slider.
Ball 4, and the Mariners have their first base runner.
By 7th, the left fielder, number 1, Greg Briley.
Greg Briley coming up. Briley, who loved to hit at Memorial Stadium. He had a .395 career average at the old ballpark.
Well, I'm surprised, Mel, that someone who does as well against a ball club like Briley does has not played in all 3 of these games.
Popped up, and that'll drift back foul and out of play.
Because there's a menace on every ball club that contributes to the ill will of another ball of the other team, and that's been Greg Riley over the last few years.
Riley last year for the Mariners hit .260 with 2 homers. Ground ball to Milligan, and the Moose takes care of it for the 3rd out. No runs, no hits, and 1 left for the M's. We go to the bottom of the 2nd with the Orioles ahead 5-0.
And still be such a young team as they got right now is impressive.
I think that's the one thing that stands out right now while the Orioles are in first place. The guys really do get along and enjoy playing the game. Doug DeCinces, who used to play 3rd base for the Orioles. Let's go back upstairs to Mel Proctor and John Lowenstone.
All right, thank you, Tom. The Orioles sent 9 men to the plate in the 1st inning, so Brady Anderson will be up for the 2nd time as the leadoff batter in the 2nd. He made the 1st out in the 1st inning with a ground out to the pitcher.
It's not a good sign, though, Mel, when the opposing starting pitcher sees all 9 guys in the other lineup. Anytime you're a pitcher who is capable of hitting yourself, and you absolutely must pitch with care and distinction on the mound. That's where DeLucia is at right now.
How do you know what kind of hitter he is?
Well, that's just the point.
DeLucia last year was 12-13 for the Mariners. Popped up on the left side. Edgar Martinez battling the sun and the wind, and almost dropped it.
Very much untidy in his approach to that pop-up.
Got a high sky, bright sunshine, and wind to deal with today.
Yeah, that contributes to it more than anything else, and not many clouds up there to give the sky any character.
Mark McLemore got things started with a line drive single to center field his first time up. He hammers it to deep left center. Back goes Henry Cotto with plenty of room. But McLemore has hit the ball right on the nose twice.
Shortstop, Cal Ripken.
And Mark looks like a different hitter than when he played with the Angels. You mentioned his work with weightlifting. He's built up his upper body and very aggressive at the plate.
When you're stronger, you're more confident.
Cal Ripken doubled his first time up and scored in the first inning. Takes a breaking ball low and away. Ball 1.
Turned out to be a good maneuver the last time up there when he faked that bunt on that first pitch. Drew Edgar Martinez, and they hit it by him.
Hit deep to left field. Going, and gone. With his second home run of the season, and the Orioles lead 6-0.
Boy, roll the rugs back for Danson here at Camden Yards, Mama. Looks like Cal is getting really into the swing of things now. This was a rocket. I mean, drilled. He didn't have to draw anybody in for anything on that time. Look at that thing carry.
Ball 1 to Sam Horn. So the Orioles have teed off on Rich DeLucia for 6 runs on 5 hits, and we're only in the second inning. 2-0 to Sam. Sam would like to get a hold of one of those fastballs while DeLucia's still in the game. He not get around much longer. We've got a man throwing in the bullpen for the Mariners.
A lot of guys that want to go up there and hit right now.
All 3. Dennis Powell, a left-hander, throwing in the bullpen for the Mariners.
Powell threw a half a game last night out there in the bullpen.
Line shot to center. Sam Horn swinging away on a 3-0 pitch. And how much longer will Bill Plummer stay with DeLucia? Looks like he has nothing.
Yeah, when you swing 3-0 and it's 6-0, that's reaching for the jugular. That killer instinct that you have to employ early in the game.
A couple of factors at work here. The middle relief has not been good for the Mariners, so I think he's had a tendency to stay with starters longer than he normally would. And another thing to consider here, a lot of times if a manager senses it's going to be a blowout early, he'll just stay with the starter rather than use a bunch of pitches to wear out his pitching staff. So DeLucia might be in there for a while.
Better to wear out the outfielders than the pitching staff.
0-2 to Mike Devereaux, who walked and scored in the first inning.
But Plummer sitting in that Mariners dugout, I mean, he's calm on the exterior, but you can bet that stomach is churning. Because he saw 15 runs scored Friday night. He doesn't want to see that happen again.
1-2. 6 runs, 6 hits for the Orioles. And we're only in the second inning. Bill Plummer in his 13th year in the Mariners organization. He closed out his playing career with the Mariners in 1978. He's managed in the minor leagues. He's been on the M's coaching staff. He replaced Jim Lefevre. Chopper to third. Short hop by Martinez to second for the force to end the inning. But the Orioles pick up another run on a solo homer by Cal Ripken, and they now lead 6-0.
Martinez, and they hit it by him.
Hit deep to left field. Going, and gone. The Orioles scored 5 runs in the first inning, added a solo run in the second, and a home run by Cal Ripken, and they lead 6-0 as Mike Mussina goes to work in the third, facing catcher Dave Valley. Ball 1 to Valley, who's a career .380 hitter against the Orioles.
What the Mariners need is a departure from the game plan for Mike Mussina on the mound. If they can get that, then they might have a chance to score a few runs.
Fly ball to shallow right. McLemore gives way to the right fielder Chito Martinez, who makes the catch. And he had a tough time with the sun. Right field is a sun field during a day game.
When you got a little breeze blowing too, that really complicates the picture out there in the outfield. But it is a lovely afternoon.
Here's Rich Amaral, who's playing shortstop. Jeff Schaefer started the game last night at short and was lifted for a pinch hitter, and Amaral played in the late innings. Recently recalled from the minor leagues. Omar Vizquel, the regular shortstop, is on the disabled list. He injured his knee in a collision.
That position to me is up for grabs if they can find someone who can just hit a little bit.
Sliced foul out of play, and it's 1-1.
Because Amaral is competent at that position. But hitting earns you jobs in the big leagues.
Amaral, a longtime minor leaguer. He's been in the minor leagues for 8 years. Was up briefly with the Mariners last year. He got jammed and hits a roller foul, and it's 1-2. Amaral recently turned 30. You don't see too many of those longtime minor leaguers anymore. Guys aren't in the big leagues, and within 5 years are usually gone.
Yeah, I think that has changed, though. With the attraction of the big money, I think these people want to keep playing as long as they possibly can and just hope for that one big break.
Hit hard up the middle for a base hit, and the Mariners have their first hit.
And who knows, Mel, maybe Rich Amaral is seeing that big break coming his way.
But he used to see those career minor leaguers. I think of a guy named Rod Gasper, who played in Hawaii for about 12 years. He played with the Mets on a championship team. Rocket Rod played in Hawaii for a long time, but you don't see that happening, I think, for a couple of reasons. A lot of these guys have college educations and degrees now, and if they don't make it in baseball within about 5 years, they move on to something else. And also, organizations make judgments of players. If they haven't made it up by a certain age, 27, 28 usually, they release them. Ball 1 to Harold Reynolds. But the Orioles have had good success picking up guys like that who've been let go by other organizations. Randy Milligan and Cheeto Martinez, Mark McLemore, all cases in point.
Yeah, I think you have to stock your AAA team, especially with those kinds of veteran players. Rod Gaspar, Long Beach State.
Yep,
played
right
against him.
Rocket Rod. Another guy, Tommy Reynolds, who played in the Pacific Coast League for years. Foul ball. And it's 2-1 to Harold Reynolds. Harold's brother, Donnie, played in the Pacific Coast League at Hawaii when I was working there. He said Donnie's now a minor league coach in the Astros organization. Harold used to go in and play in Hawaii when he was with Salt Lake City, then a Mariners farm team. He said he hated playing in Hawaii, though. He was 1 for 38, he said, in Hawaii, because he stayed out too late and he got up too early.
Of course. You got to master that lifestyle.
Ground ball into right field for a base hit, and Amaral will go to third.
See, they've got to be able to cash in on this kind of opportunity here. They need a stiff blow into that wind to knock home 3. That'll get them a lot closer. They need the quick runs.
And they would have had that kind of power coming up had Ken Griffey not been hurt. Well, actually, with the lineup change, it would have been Martinez coming up here, but Martinez dropped down to number 3 spot with Cotto replacing Griffey, and Cotto batting second. Dick Bosman out to talk with Mussina.
Yeah, regardless, you'd had a 300 hitter and then a long ball for Farmer up there after that.
Henry Cotto doesn't have much power. His career high in home runs is 9. The Orioles flying high these days. They're 8-1 at home after their best start ever at home. And leading the American League East by percentage points over Toronto.
And I'm sure a lot of those fellows out at the bullpen there we just saw are expecting an afternoon off.
We've had a lot of those this year. 1-0 to Henry Cotto, who bounced to third his first time up. Cotto, a .305 hitter last year in 66 games for the Mariners. Out of play, and it's 1-1 to Henry.
Henry falls into that category of the players who wear down when they play too much, and then they have a tendency to struggle against just about every pitcher because they have been playing too much out there. A lot of players in that kind of category. The one that comes to mind is Jim Dwyer.
I was just thinking the same thing. I remember the year when Joe Altobelli decided to play him every day. He wasn't the same player. Couldn't produce when he was in the lineup every day. Line foul, 1-2 to Cotto.
But you put him out there every so often, you get yourself an all-star player.
Why is that? What happens to guys who are good part-time players when they become everyday players? Why do they seem to wear down?
You know, I've never been able to answer that, but I think it has a lot to do with your mental approach to the game, especially on this level. Even though you play all the time in the minor leagues, when you come up here, it's an entirely different concept. It depends upon how the managers want to use you. And you fall into that line where they use you every so often, you get used to that. Psychological.
Ground ball, foul down the left field line.
It's difficult to break. You get used to that day off, as a matter of fact.
Cotto just missing an extra base hit.
Well, that's what they would have needed, too.
6-0 Orioles. 1 out, top of the third inning. The Mariners have runners at first and third. Grounded foul.
You talk to any pitcher, and I'll bet you 9 out of 10 will tell you it's difficult often to pitch with a big lead because you just lose a little something on a mound, and concentration-wise.
You heard Ben McDonald talking about that yesterday, that what you've got to do is continue to pitch rather than just throw fastball after fastball. You have a tendency to throw a few more fastballs with a big lead, but you want to continue to work on these hitters and pitch just as if it's a 2-0 or 3-1 game. Ground ball to third. Hewlett bobbles it and throws it away. Amaral scores to make it 6-1, and the Orioles don't get anybody.
Well, that was the inning-ending ground ball right there that Mike Mussina needed. But that was the ball thrown in the left and the bobble right there that the Mariners needed. That's the kind of outrageous break right there you get early in the game to try to get back into it. But just that little fumble right there and that little bobble and drop ball enabled this inning to continue.
So Tim Hewlett boots a double play ball. A run scores. Hewlett is charged with an error. Cotto reaches on a fielder's choice, and the inning is still alive.
But he almost needed a flower sifter to ring that ball in out there. And this after making a brilliant diving play the first inning.
Edgar Martinez drops a bunt, and it rolls foul.
The Mariners trying to play a little ball right here to get themselves into position for a real big inning.
Martinez could get on. They'd have Kevin Mitchell coming up with the bases loaded with one swing. Even though he doesn't have a home run, he's capable of getting them back in this game. Drilled into left center field. Devereaux can't get it. It gets by him and will roll to the wall. Reynolds scores. Cotto is right behind him. And going all the way to third is Edgar Martinez with a triple. And it's now 6-3.
Boy, what a ballpark for triples. Huh? I mean, we mentioned in the first few days of the season opener here at Camden Yards. You're going to see a lot of them right here. You might even see a record this year in triples. He stroked that ball right on the nose. Very typical of the way he hits the ball. Now, he hits the ball so hard that once the ball gets by Devereaux in center field, you know that he's going to get a sure triple and everybody's going to score. A valiant effort out there, but still look how far that ball is going to roll to the wall here. A real fast man, you're looking at it inside the Parker.
So a triple, 2 RBIs for Martinez, and it's now 6-3 Orioles. Still only one out, and Kevin Mitchell is up. Tim Hewlett took a base hit away from Mitchell his first time up. He had a shot in the hole, and Hewlett went to his left, dove, caught it, scrambled to his feet, and threw him out. It was also Hewlett who misplayed a double play ball in this inning, which opened the door. And the Mariners have taken advantage, scoring 3 times.
Well, this is where you need the big guy like Mitchell to turn things around right here and put the point on an exclamation mark.
Big swing, and it's 0-2.
He might be trying to do too much this early season. When that head starts flying out of there, then that body's coming out. You don't have the home run power that you'd expect.
Alan Mills is throwing in the Orioles bullpen. Orioles 6, Mariners 3. Bouncer foul. Kevin Mitchell, the National League's MVP in 1989 with the Giants, and he led the major leagues in home runs and RBIs. He had 47 dingers and drove in 125 runs. One and 2. Last year he had a lot of injury problems. He underwent arthroscopic knee surgery in June, and late in the season injured his groin and also incurred a wrist injury, which made it very difficult for him to handle inside pitches, and pitchers were able to get right in his kitchen. Bounced up the middle. Cal Ripken is there and over to first. But the Mariners add another run to their total as Edgar Martinez scores to make it 6-4.
Oh, that's just what they needed. They didn't need a strikeout. They needed a ground ball or a fly ball to the outfield, and they got it. They're right back in the game now.
Kevin Mitchell with his 10th RBI of the season. And it's now 6-4. Mike Mussina to face Tino Martinez, who grounded to first his first time up. Ball 1 to Tino.
Well, he more or less made Alvin Davis dispensable. When you come into the big leagues with the kind of hitting reputation that Tino had, and then bring that game with you on the major league level, you can play a long time.
Foul back into the seats behind home plate, and it's 1-2 to Tino Martinez, who was the MVP of the Pacific Coast League last year. Tino attended Jefferson High School in Tampa, Florida, the same school that produced Fred McGriff, the San Diego Padres.
Tell you, last year Major League pitchers had very little trouble jamming Martinez, so obviously he's made some adjustments up there at the plate. We weren't sure if he had the requisite bat speed or not.
Struck him out. But a big inning for the Mariners as they score 4 runs, and they go to the bottom of the third with the Orioles ahead 6-4. And let's go to Tom Davis.
Oh, you're right there. Well, Mel, I've got Dave Dombrowski.
Powell was the last pitcher cut during spring training and was sent to Calgary, and then was purchased from the AAA club on April the 9th. This will be his 9th appearance of the year. He has no decisions and earned run average of 1.93. Facing Randy Milligan, leading off the bottom of the third inning. Ball 1 to Milligan. Rich DeLucia went 2 innings. He allowed 6 runs on 6 hits, walked 2, and struck out 2. And also gave up a home run to Cal Ripken. 2-0 to Randy Milligan, who drove in 2 runs with a single in the first inning.
You bounced ahead by 6. You've seen the other team scratch back, and now you've got to get right back on the train again and get some more runs.
Fly ball foul down the right field line. The attendance this afternoon is 45,352. Another capacity crowd. Hit down the line, but peeling back foul. And it's 2-2 the Moose.
But right now the Mariners have regained the momentum, and it remains to Dennis Powell how long they're going to keep it.
Cheeto Martinez on deck. Powell was with the Orioles during spring training last year and was released. Signed to a minor league contract by the Mariners, for whom he played previously. Spent most of last year with Calgary, their AAA club.
Look, again, it was the same old thing with Dennis on the mound as it is with so many pitchers. As Valley took that one off the headgear, it looked like. Throwing too many pitches out over the plate that are hittable instead of working around the periphery. See, if you don't have that helmet on there behind that mask there, you can take a lot of balls off the noggin. Keeps a lot of people away from that position, but you can play it now with that hard headgear.
Ball 3, and the count is full to Milligan. Dennis Powell is 28 years of age. He came up through the Dodger organization. Was up with Los Angeles in 1985 and 86. Throws pretty hard, but he's had control problems throughout his career. Bouncer foul off third base. Bounce to the shortstop. Rich Amaral over to first. 1 out.
I wouldn't be surprised to see this game settle down now after having both teams scored 10 runs here in the 2.5+ innings.
Chito Martinez comes up for the second time. He walked to load the bases in the first inning, and then Tim Hewlett delivered a 3-run triple as the Orioles jumped out to a 5-0 lead. They made it 6-0 on Cal Ripken's home run in the second, but the Mariners came back with 4 runs in the top of the third.
So Plummer putting Powell into a game like this gives him a chance to perhaps see the other manager turn around some of these hitters.
Slow roller on the right side. Reynolds will have to hurry and can't get it. The throw pulled the first baseman Tino Martinez off the bag, and Chito Martinez beats it out. An infield hit for Chito, who doesn't have great speed.
No, but you saw evidence there of the kind of range and ability and skill and glove work that Reynolds has at that position right there, charging that ball and trying to get it over the first in time.
And on this slow infield, that's an almost impossible play, and still he almost got Chito. Reynolds was talking before the game about how slow this infield is. He says you have to charge everything. Strike one to Tim Hewlett, who drove in 3 runs with a triple in the first inning. But he also committed a costly error in the top of the third. That the bouncing ball that should have been 2, and he bobbled the ball and then threw it away, and that kept the door ajar, and the Mariners went on to score 4 runs. 1 ball, 1 strike to Tim.
Well, it's difficult to expect that a double play would have been turned on that particular batted ball, but the odds are pretty good that it would have occurred.
One and 2 to Hewlett.
It's like they had the upper hand, and now they have to reestablish themselves once again offensively, even though we have 7 hits and 6 runs in this game so far. But the good point for them is that they're still up by 2 runs. But the Mariners, having lost 4 in a row, I mean, they're obligated to try to make their best effort here this afternoon to get out from under that.
A little high and outside, and it's 2 and 2. 6 runs, 7 hits, 1 error for the Orioles, 4 runs, 3 hits, and no errors for the Mariners. Fly ball to shallow left center. Enricato in with the glasses down. 2 outs. That will bring up the catcher, Jeff Tackett, who's getting a rare start today.
Catcher, Jeff Tackett.
Tackett has always been regarded as a great defensive catcher. He has a tremendous throwing arm, does a good job of calling a game, but there was some doubt as to whether he would hit major league pitching. When he was first signed by the Orioles, they thought he was going to be a pretty good hitter. He had good power in the alleys, big guy. Thought he might hit a few home runs, but for some reason when he got in the Orioles organization, they changed him into a contact hitter. But according to Elrod Hendricks, he's now getting his stroke back. He's swinging the bat much better. Hit that home run off Frank Tanana. And he's kind of reverting back to the way he was when they signed him, which is a good sign.
Yeah, well, why you'd ever want to make a big guy turn into a punch and Judy hitter is beyond me.
Slow bouncer. Trouble for the shortstop. Amaral's throw is in time.
Let's play.
HTS coverage of Orioles baseball is brought to you by your local Jeep and Eagle dealer. There's only one Jeep. By Wagner, maker of quality power painters, power sprayers, and power washers. And by Lee Olds Sales Service Selection. Only Lee Olds Compare and Save. Mel Proctor with John Lowenstein. Tom Davis back at Memorial Stadium as the Orioles try to sweep the Seattle Mariners. They lead 6-4 as Jay Buhner leads off the 4th inning for Seattle. On the appeal to the first base umpire, John Shulock, he indicates no swing, so it's 1-0 to Buhner, who walked his first time up against Mike Mussina. 1-1.
Looks like Mussina is playing with Buhner a lot like Eric Hansen played with Sam Horn yet last night. A lot of changeup, a lot of off-speed pitches, not too many hittable balls.
2-1 to the big right-handed hitter who has tremendous power. Low fastball is grounded into left center for a base hit. He had a good pitch.
I think he's a good hitter, not just a good long ball hitter, a good hitter, period.
Left fielder, Greg Riley.
That's the 4th Mariner hit off Mike Mussina, and it'll bring the tying run to the plate in Greg Briley. Briley grounded to first in his first at bat. When he first came up, because he's a little guy and because he'd shown some power in the minor leagues, he was compared to guys like Kirby Puckett and Joe Morgan. Punched foul out of play. He had 13 home runs for the Mariners in 1989, only 115 games. They thought he might eventually be a guy who would hit between 20 and 30 home runs, but he has shown no power since. Just 5 homers in 1990 and only 2 last year. Knuckle curve is low, and it's 1-1.
Well, he's evidently got a very large fan following in this area, because when he comes up to the plate, there's a lot of people yelling for him. And I can recall that occurring in Memorial Stadium too. That seemed to pump him up when he played against his ball club.
Well, he went to college at North Carolina State.
Well, that has something to do with it.
There goes the runner. High fly ball to right center field. 3 Orioles converging, and Mike Devereaux takes charge. Ball looked like trouble.
Catcher, Dave Valley.
It's on balls like that you get collisions.
Yeah, easily. Especially if neither one of the pursuers thinks they can get it till the last moment.
Dave Valley is 0 for 1. The Mariners catcher flied to right his first time up. And he's done a lot of damage against this team over the years. Even though he's really not a very good hitter. He hit just 194 for the season last year. Never quite been able to put it all together. He's a good defensive catcher with a strong arm. He's had a lot of injury problems in his career. Popped up, foul.
Well, Valley's one of those hitters, Mel, that never really had much luck in recognizing pitching patterns from the batter's box. And that's strange, too, because he's a catcher. But he can chip in with the occasional home run and maybe make the clutch hit for the ball club that they need on occasion, but he still lunges a little too much at the plate.
Dave Valley strikes out for the second out. That's the second strikeout this afternoon for Mike Mussina.
Well, he just blew him away on this pitch right here. A little upstairs and swung right through it. Usually when you throw the ball upstairs to anybody with that kind of velocity, they're not going to hit it.
Rich Amaral comes up for the second time. He singled to center his first time up. Orioles 6, Mariners 4.
Doesn't look like Mussina is flustered at all. the effects of last inning.
The Mariners scored 4 times in the 3rd inning. Fastball is high, and it's 1-1 to Emerald.
When you have a coaching staff that doesn't exhibit a lot of agitation when things go wrong during a game, that translates over to the pitching staff. So you see that calm exterior, and they just go out and continue doing what they are normally expected to do. You see that in Mike Mussina.
He lays off a high fastball, and it's 2-1. Emerald was signed by the Mariners after spending a couple of years in the White Sox organization. He played college baseball at UCLA, where he was an all Pac-10 selection. Uniter draws a throw. Texas Rangers come to town beginning tomorrow to open up a 3-game series. Bob Malachy will face Jose Guzman in the opener, and Tuesday afternoon it'll be Jose Mesa against Nolan Ryan, making his 2nd start since coming off the disabled list. And the final game of the series on Wednesday, Ben McDonald will pitch for the Orioles.
Well, Nolan Ryan, the owner of 2 banks and 4 ranches. It makes you wonder how long he's going to keep pitching.
I stand corrected. That's a 2-game series with Texas, and then Minnesota comes in. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Rich Amaral. Texas will be in tomorrow, Tuesday, and then Minnesota comes in Wednesday for 2 games, and then the White Sox are in for 3 games to close out this homestand. 10-game homestand, the longest of the year for the Orioles.
How about Nolan on a bright, sunny afternoon? Better than twilight.
Fouled back. The Rangers are just a game out of first place in the American League West. A team capable of scoring a lot of runs.
Yeah, this is going to be a terrific year for divisional races, especially seeing the ball clubs in the American League East come back and start bunching up again.
Struck him out. Well, Mike Mussina strikes out Rich Amaral to end the inning. And at the end of 3 1/2, it's still 6-4 Orioles. And let's again check in with Tom.
Well, now we're going to update you on all the scores, but first a quick equipment, folks.
All right, Tom, way to tell him, babe. Brady Anderson leading off an inning for the 3rd time. And he takes a pitch low and away from Dennis Powell. He led off the 1st inning, and then as the Orioles sent 9 men to the plate in the 1st, he led off the 2nd, and is up again leading off the 4th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Brady has had only 1 previous at bat against Dennis Powell and has a single. Getting a chance to face some of these tough left-handers this year, unlike previous years. But he's playing so well that Johnny Oates is leaving him in there every day, and he's seeing both the left-handers and the right-handers. He's bailed out on a couple of pitches against Powell, though. Looks like he's throwing him a good slider.
Yeah, that's unusual because he stays in there pretty well, but his confidence level is so high at the plate. And right now, it probably doesn't make any difference who he's facing out there, left or right. But when you see a left-hander for the first time in any one season, and it's a little different approach.
Ground ball to the first baseman, and a toss to Powell for the out. So Brady is 0 for 3 so far this afternoon.
Looks like Tino Martinez down at first base, pretty smooth down there at that position.
He's supposed to be a very good defensive first baseman. Mark McLemore comes up for the 3rd time. He's hit the ball hard twice. He lined the base, hit to center field in the 1st inning, and drove the ball deep to center in the 2nd. Henry Cotto making the catch. McLemore, a switch hitter. He began switch hitting at the age of 10. Said he fooled around with it for about 3 years before he finally decided to switch hit in the game.
Well, that's really the kind of head start you need to make yourself a competent switch hitter. A lot of guys have started late. Some not starting until they get into the professional baseball leagues.
Well, Harold Reynolds is a guy who started switch hitting at the age of 19. Eddie Murray started after he was playing professional baseball. Mickey Tettleton started switch hitting in high school. And Powell makes short work of McLemore. That's his first strikeout of the day.
Oh, that little slide ball he's got there is a nice little fishing lure right there to get these hitters to strike at pitches out of the strike zone. They evidently can see it well, but they can't hit it.
Cal Ripken is 2 for 2 with a double, a home run, scored twice. Ball 1. Two and 0. Cal lifetime against Dennis Powell is 2 for 4. Three and 0. It's like he's pitching around him.
So some pitchers just don't like to pitch to some hitters.
He knows he's got a left-handed hitter up next, and Sam Horn. 3 and 1.
That's why when that occurs, often the best pitch you'll see is that 3-0 pitch.
So Dennis Powell pitching around Cal Ripken, walks him, and that'll bring up Sam Horn, who has not been very successful against left-handed pitching in recent years.
Sam Horn.
I always felt hitting against left-handed pitchers when I did hit against them that if I crowded the plate and if I did have a tendency to bail a little bit because I was on top of the plate, I could still reach some of those pitches.
Fouled back, strike one. Horn is 1 for 2 today, both at bats against the right-hander DeLucia. Against left-handed pitching last year, Horn was 2 for 18 with 1 home run.
I still think the only thing Sam is missing against left-handed pitchers is at-bats. I think he could become a very competent hitter on the left side against left-handed pitchers.
Strike 2.
I was never eager to hit off of left-handed pitchers because I didn't see that many of them. They actually walk the other way when they come out.
A drive to center field, but playable for Henry Cotto. And that does it for the Orioles. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left at the end of 4. It's 6-4 Orioles.
You're watching HTS, cable home of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Introducing the NHL Superheroes. Faster than a speeding bullet.
Gretzky to the middle. Gretzky looking, the shot. Got a goal.
More powerful than a locomotive. Able to skate past hapless defenders in a single bound. They're NHL Superheroes, and they're only on Sports Channel.
Talking Baseball with Ed Randall features player interviews and baseball insight from those who make the game great. Talking Baseball with Ed Randall, Wednesdays at 5, only on HTS.
Monday night, the Rangers come to play in the yard with 3 of the AL's best sluggers, Julio Franco, Rafael Palmeiro, and Ruben Sierra. Check out the action live at 7:30 on HTS.
Orioles, Capitals, Bullets, Hooks, Redskin, Wilson, Collins, Ball, got it all! Take it back, high and take HTS, rise and right, your sports, HTS!
Welcome back to Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And the Sherwin-Williams pitching update on Mike Mussina. He's thrown 71 pitches, 51 strikes, and only 20 balls. Excellent ratio.
Yeah, but he's had to pitch his heart out after that one error that led to 4 runs.
Harold Reynolds leads off the 5th inning for the Mariners. Ball 1 to Reynolds. Tim Hewlett is playing way in at third. Reynolds was complaining, saying they've taken the bunt away from me on the left side in this series. The third baseman's been playing in so far. Tried to drag bunt last night. He lifts a fly ball to right. Cheeto Martinez having trouble with the sun and makes the catch.
Well, you can see the glare off of those glasses. Yeah, that's vicious. He played the ball from the side about the only way you can do it. I mean, this resembles the kind of late afternoon sun you get at Fenway Park in Boston, which is the worst. You got to play with your glasses down all the time. Played it to the right of the halo.
What's he trying to do? Turn sideways so he doesn't have to look directly into the sun, so he can look to the side?
Actually, the ball's not going to change. You still have to look up there at it. It's never going to change in the sky.
Bounce to third. Tim Hewlett is up with it. And he throws out Henry Cotto.
I used to employ it as a masquerade in case it did drop. There was a reason.
So he wouldn't get hit in the face?
Right. Just in the side.
Third baseman.
You take off the side of your nose, it's not so bad as take it in the middle of the forehead.
You're seeing that ball that the Tigers' Chet Lemon took off the forehead a couple of years ago, and he lost the ball in the sun.
Right. You don't want to wear that American League president's signature across your forehead for too many days.
Here's Edgar Martinez, who drove in 2 runs with a triple in the 3rd inning. He's had 5 hits in this series.
You're also alerting the official scorer that you're having trouble with the ball, so that if it does drop, they won't give you an error. I think that, for the most part, is why that little masquerade is employed in the outfield.
That's a frightening feeling, though, when you look up and see that sun and can't find the ball and know it's somewhere around your head. Right center field. Cheeto Martinez into the gap and can't get it, and it'll roll to the wall. Edgar Martinez will take the turn and head to third. The relay throw by McLemore, and he is safe. His 2nd triple of the game.
Because he's an alley hitter, if he played in this ballpark and not in the Astros, in the Kingdom, where those balls get to the fence in a hurry and outfielders run them down because they slow down out there, he did a lot of triples. Probably lead the league here.
And he's really not a guy with an abundance of speed.
No, you don't have to be to get a triple here. But he can smell it. It's very rare when you get 2 triples in one game.
So Martinez at third base with 2 outs, and Kevin Mitchell up. Ball 1 to Mitchell, who's grounded to third and grounded out. He has driven in a run today.
I didn't think, Mel, that adjusting to the American League should be that difficult for him. He stands right on top of the plate, and he dares pitchers to come inside. So that takes away a lot of the guesswork. He just has to be told what a pitcher features.
Big swing by Mitchell, and it's 1-1. Edgar Martinez did not have a triple coming into this game, and now he has 2.
Yeah, it's a triple ballpark. You can see that as soon as you walked in.
Two. Mitchell still without a home run, but you know eventually someone is going to pay. He's seeing a lot of these pitchers for the first time. He's playing in new ballparks, adjusting to the American League, different strike zone. all the things that go with that move from one league to the other. But eventually, when he feels more comfortable, he's going to hammer some home runs. Very streaky hitter, and his home runs come in bunches. Foul back.
And we mentioned the most important aspect of hitting when you come to another league and new pitchers is recognizing pitching patterns out there. And you've seen he's not giving anything away. He's using everything against it.
Let's see from our Jeep and Eagle Eye. The Orioles are playing him to pull. Knuckle curve is whacked high in the air to right center and deep. Devereaux and Martinez are back. Oh, and Cheeto makes the basket catch. Now the Mariners leave a runner at third. They go to the bottom of the fifth for the Orioles ahead 6-4. Tom?
Well, you know, you're talking about
the Sherwin-Williams update on reliever Dennis Powell of the Mariners. Thrown 33 pitches, 21 strikes, and has done an excellent job in 2 innings of work, allowing only an infield hit and a walk. Mike Devereaux leads off for the Orioles. Devo has walked and scored and bounced into a force play. One and one.
It looked like this was going to be a blowout when the game started, and that's why it's important for the Orioles to reestablish that kind of fearsome offensive potential they exhibited in the first couple innings of this game. To let a reliever come in and draw them to a halt would not be the best thing that could happen.
Ball 3-1. Middle relief has been a problem for the Mariners so far this year, but Dennis Powell has pitched well after picking up for Rich DeLucia, who started the game and gave up 6 runs in 2 innings. Slow bouncer on the left side. The pickup by Emerald and makes the throw in time.
Well, if you look at last year, Mel, having brought that pitching depth up, Bill Swift and Mike Jackson, who were traded to San Francisco, did almost 40% of Seattle's relief work last season.
Storm Davis heating up in the Oriole bullpen.
And when you trade a couple of guys who accounted for 31 of the club's 48 saves, then you've got to pick up the slack somewhere else.
Randy Milligan is 1 for 2. He drove in 2 runs with a bases loaded single in the first inning. Ball 1. David Segui has done a fine job at first base with Milligan out a few games after being injured in that collision in Kansas City. David has hit .400, had a home run last night. He's played fine defense at first base.
He's a natural first baseman who's capable of switch hitting, and he's a contact hitter. Good combination.
2-1 to Milligan. The Orioles lead the Mariners 6-4. We're in the 5th inning. Three and one. You have to throw strikes to the Moose. He just won't chase bad pitches. Ground ball to Rich Amaral, who knocks it down, picks it up, and will have no play. So Amaral is charged with an error. Looked like he tried to throw it before he really had it.
Now, this is an easy play for him. He's made a couple of difficult plays look easy already. But that's just a ball in the hole right there that pops out of his glove. He's trying to set up right there with the front foot there to plant it and then throw to first, and he never got that far.
Milligan reaches on the error, and that brings up Cheeto Martinez. Cheeto has walked and reached on an infield hit, so he's 1 for 1 officially today. Breaking ball low, ball 1. This is Cheeto's second at bat against Dennis Powell this afternoon. Grounded foul. He had an infield hit off of him in the third inning, the only hit that Powell has allowed. Rich DeLucia started and was pounded hard in 2 innings, giving up 6 runs and 6 hits, including a home run. Two and one.
Powell has done a pretty good job of scuttling this attack, and DeLucia coming into this game, Mel, was lifetime 2-1 with a just over 2 earned run average in 4 career games for the Orioles, so it was a blessing for them to have scored 6 in a hurry.
This is the second trip through the batting order for Dennis Powell, so let's see if the hitters have been able to make the adjustments and do a better job the second time around. Up right center field. Buhner and Cotto are there, and Henry Cotto makes the catch. Buhner was telling him, "You take it. I don't want to bat left side."
That's precisely what he was telling him. As a matter of fact, he probably ended it by saying, "You take everything from now on."
Tim Hewlett up for the third time, a 3-run triple in the first inning. He flied to center in the third. 0-1.
Boy, that little slider just sneaks underneath those swings of those right-handed hitters. It's a very effective pitch. I can see why he's thrown so well in the 8 or 9 times he's been out there this year.
Line drive, base hit. Buhner trying to run it down as Milligan heads to third. Hewlett digging for second. He's in with a double. So Tim Hewlett is 2 for 3 with a pair of extra base hits, and the Orioles are threatening as Calvin Jones gets loose in the Mariners bullpen.
Hewlett's bat does his talking for him. And maybe the door swung open a little bit when Rich Amaral fumbled that Randy Milligan bouncer to short. The Orioles are certainly hoping it did. Sliced nicely into right field right here. Buhner could have thrown this ball to second base, and it would have been a pretty close play, because you can see Hewlett there just streaking around to second now. But he chose to play it safely and threw it toward the plate.
That's the Orioles' 4th extra base hit of the day. It puts runners at second and third with 2 outs, and Jeff Tackett up. He struck out and grounded out. Bouncer up the middle. Harold Reynolds stabs it and throws out Tackett to end the inning. So the Orioles leave 2 men in scoring position. At the end of 5, it's still 6-4 Orioles over the Mariners. You buy your local Lincoln Mercury dealer, now offering 5 cars with dual airbags and anti-lock brakes. By Safeway. Come see the difference at Safeway. The Orioles lead the Mariners 6-4 through 5 innings. The Orioles scored 5 runs in the first. Cal Ripken homered in the second to make it 6-0. But the Mariners, taking advantage of an error by Tim Hewlett, scored 4 runs in the third inning to make it 6-4. A gorgeous day in Baltimore as the Orioles try to complete a 3-game sweep of the Mariners. Strike 1 to Tino Martinez leading off the 6th inning. Tino has grounded to first and struck out 2 at-bats against Mike Mussina today. Bouncer to Mark McLemore. 1 out. Where is he?
Right fielder, Jay Buhner.
A little precarious position, it certainly looks like.
Up in the cheap seats, top the warehouse. How did he get up there?
He oils the robot.
How's he going to get down? Strike 1 to Jay Buhner, who's walked and singled.
That's where you got to go if you're going to smoke.
Maybe we can find out how he got up there and broadcast a game from up there one time. That'd be kind of fun.
I'll stay here, but I'll enjoy seeing you get up there.
1-2 to Buhner.
There he goes. Oh, yesterday we were talking about that Jeep and Eagle salesman. They get him up there early before the game. Maybe that's him.
Somebody's yelling at him. Get off the roof. Huh?
One last draw.
No smoking on the roof. What? Must be getting cold up there. Now he's going to go back to work. Is there a restaurant up there somewhere? No, just a guy who likes to wear an apron. Buhner strikes out. That's the third strikeout for Mike Mussina, and it'll bring up Greg Briley. Well, we understand there's a restaurant called the Camden Club on the 7th floor of that warehouse. It's probably where that gentleman works. Well, we might have to try that out.
Now that we got him on the camera.
Strike one to Briley, is grounded to first and fly to center. The Orioles lead the Mariners 6-4.
Probably a bus boy with no clout.
Probably was a bus boy until we showed him on camera. Oh, we understand it's a members only club. Well, excuse me. What do we have to do to qualify?
You got to know politician.
We should have an honorary membership, I would think.
Oh, of course.
Slow roller to McLemore. And a close play, but he throws out Briley, who runs well. Well, 1-2-3 inning for Mike Mussina. We go to the bottom of the 6th with the Orioles leading 6-4. Maybe Tom, who knows everyone in town, knows how we can become members of the county. Well, another vantage point. Rest of the warehouse. We're going to have to check that out. Brady Anderson leading off the 6th inning against Dennis Powell, who's pitched well in relief, and he starts him off with a slider away. Brady hitless in 3 at-bats.
Dennis has been impressive out there on the mound. He staggered through last inning a little bit.
Grounded foul.
But he's throwing real well.
Brady grounded out, popped to third, 2 at-bats against starter Rich DeLucia, and bounced to first in his only at-bat against Powell today. High fly ball to left center. Cotto with the shades drawn. 1 out. Dennis Powell came on in the 3rd inning and has given up just 2 hits, an infield hit by Chito Martinez in the 3rd and a double by Tim Hewlett in the 5th.
Second baseman,
Confirmed what Tom said about the Camden Club, John. It's a $1,000 initiation fee and also a monthly fee.
Well, pick me up and I'll join you over there for lunch. Deep pockets.
It's pocket change for you, $1,000. Ball 1 to Mark McLemore, who's 1 for 3 and has hit the ball hard twice today. Fly ball to right center. Buhner battles the sun to make the catch. Tom, do you have something to add to our comments about the Camden Club?
Well, Mel, the other thing about the Camden Club is that you have to pay a $35 food charge per month. If you don't go once a month, it's an extra $35. But I don't think that's too much to cover for me for $35 for a month of food.
But they don't serve Slim Fast at the Camden Club, Tom. Strike 1 to Cal Ripken. Gourmet dining, we understand. That's right up our alley. Really, though, we should have an honorary membership. Bounce to Harold Reynolds, positioned perfectly, and he throws out Cal. So Dennis Powell doing a fine job in relief, sets the Orioles down in order. And at the end of 6, it's still 6-4 Orioles. Dave Valley leads off the 7th inning against Mike Mussina. Takes a knuckle curve for a strike.
This is where the Mariners have to show an ability to get either the first or second hitter in the last 3 innings on base, because that's the kind of pressure they're going to have to put on the Orioles and Mike Mussina right now. They weren't able to do that last night in the close ball game late.
The Orioles getting another strong outing from a starting pitcher. Starters this year have averaged 6 1/3 innings per start. Here's Mussina still going strong in the 7th. Ground ball in the hole, backhanded by Cal over to first, got it.
Well, that is his strength at that position. That play in the hole right there.
Like a man stabbing his dinner with a fork.
That's the test of a good shortstop. And you got to have an arm to play that position when you go in the hole like that, because once you plant your feet, and he does it twice out there just to make sure. You got to come around the side of the body and make a tough throw across your body.
Big players have trademark plays for which they're remembered in the field, and that would be his, going in the hole and backhanding the ball.
No question.
Rich Amaral trying to bunt and takes a pitch low. He singled and struck out in 2 at-bats today against Mike Mussina.
Oh, he's got the right idea. They've got to get somebody on base. They have ground to a halt since their 4-run third.
Popped up. Jeff Tackett coming back, but it's out of play. The Orioles have gone 8-1 in this park. Their only loss in the 2nd game of the season when they were shut out by Cleveland 4-0. A win today and the Orioles would match the 53 Braves and the 65 Astros for the best starts in a new ballpark. Both clubs went 9-1 after 10 games. The Braves in County Stadium and the Astros in the Astrodome. Check swing roller to first. Randy Milligan makes the play.
Now, when you can outscore a ball club here early in the season, 58-18, when teams come in here and outscore them by that margin right there, you'd expect to win 8 out of 9 games. That's what the Orioles have done.
Just want to amend what I said. I believe that's the 56 Braves, because I don't think the Braves were in Milwaukee in '53. I believe they were still in Boston.
I couldn't tell you. I was just a young lad.
Harold Reynolds is up with 2 outs and the bases empty. Let's see if he might try to bunt his way on to get something started. Right after that swing.
Yeah, that looked pretty pathetic right there. That's the first changeup he's thrown him all afternoon. That's probably why.
Todd Throworth and Mike Flanagan, who both pitched last night, are getting loose in the bullpen. He loops one to right. Here comes Chito Martinez, but he can't get it. He throws back to first and almost nailed him. Reynolds kind of nonchalanting going back into first base, and Chito almost cut him down.
He duplicated the first swing with that swing right there, and more or less bunted it into right field. Chito might not be able to run as well as some of the other outfielders, but he's got a darn good arm. He's accurate.
That's the 6th hit for the Mariners, and Reynolds is aboard with 2 outs. And Henry Cotto is up. Strike 1 as he takes a fastball. 6 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error for the Orioles. 4 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error for Seattle. Popped up on the right side. McLemore fighting the sun. Makes the catch. Nothing easy on that side of the field. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left for the Mariners. The Orioles lead 6-4. And let's again check in with Tom. All right, Tom, the Mariners make a pitching change. Jeff Nelson will take over in the 7th inning, and Dennis Powell did all you could ask from a middle reliever. 4 innings of shutout relief, allowing 2 hits. He walked none, struck out 1, and Jeff Nelson, who is from Baltimore, takes over in the 7th inning.
Yeah, he's thrown well this year. This is Well, he's been in, let's see, he's been in this is his 7th game of the year, and he's really pitched well, and he's got a herky-jerky motion on the mound, kind of throws across his body a little bit, three-quarter arm delivery, fastball, slider, pretty typical pitching routine out there.
Nelson is a local kid who played at Catonsville High School and also attended Catonsville Community College. So back in his hometown to face Sam Horn, leading off the bottom of the 7th inning.
That's got to be a big thrill for him.
Nelson was recently recalled from Calgary. He was tagged with his first major league loss Sunday in Anaheim, losing to the Angels. Sam Horn 1 for 3 this afternoon. Imagine he's glad that left-handers out of the game. Ground ball hit sharply to Tino Martinez, and he makes the unassisted play. Johnny Oates did not turn over his batting order when the Mariners brought in the left-hander Powell. He left his left-handed hitters in there, so they're still in there now as the Mariners go to a right-hander.
Well, that was something that Bill Plummer was hoping for, which didn't occur. And why? Well, because the Orioles still maintain that 2-run lead.
Mike Devereaux has walked, grounded into a forced play, and bounced to short in 3 plate appearances. Ball 1.
Boy, he can pop that ball.
Nelson had 19 saves last year between AA and AAA ball in the Mariners organization. He had 12 at Jacksonville, 7 at Calgary. 3-0. Randy Milligan on deck.
Well, he looks nasty out on the mound if you're a right-handed hitter.
3-1 to Devereaux. Fly ball to right field. This will be a tough play for Buhner, battling the sun, and makes the catch. It looked like he just put up his glove where he thought the ball was going to be and kind of turned his head away from it.
Well, these outfielders have certainly laid the foundation for dropping one of these balls. And you can see that ball is probably living on just the outside of the rim of that sun. He's got his glasses on. He shielded his eyes using the glove as a barrier to that sun. He was able to catch the ball.
No one has dropped a ball in right field yet, but been some close calls. Strike 1 to Randy Milligan. Breaking ball is high, 1-1. The way this game began, it looked like it was going to be a blowout as the Orioles jumped Rich DeLucia for 5 runs in the first inning. Cal Ripken homered in the second to make it 6-0. Fly ball down the right field line, a long run for Buhner, and it's foul.
Just foul.
But the Orioles jumped out 6-0. But the Mariners came right back, taking advantage of an error by Tim Hewlett. They scored 4 runs in the third. Bill Plummer went to his bullpen for Dennis Powell, who took over in the third inning, and he gave the M's 4 shutout innings in relief, keeping his team in the game. One and one to Milligan. 2 outs in the 7th. The Orioles leading 6-4. Slider away, and it's 2-2. A drive to center field and deep. Henry Cotto racing back, and it's gone. Provides a little insurance with a towering home run over the center field wall to make it 7-4, his 3rd home run of the season.
Well, that was a Ruthian clout right there, on over to the the site where Babe Ruth's father used to own that saloon. Once this thing got up in the wind, I thought perhaps it might knock it down, but Otto gave up on the ball very quickly, and you could tell it was going to be a home run. Boy, he did get all of it, Mel. Well, he got it up in the air in a hurry, and it just drifted out over beyond the center field wall.
The Orioles' second home run of the game. Cal Ripken hit one in the second inning. That's a foul ball. Cheeto Martinez just missing an extra base hit. The Orioles have now hit 11 homers in their last 4 games at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, and they've hit 16 in their first 6 games here.
Yeah, this ballpark has packed away 26 dingers now in the first part of the season.
I think that 16 home runs in their last 7 games here.
And that tells me that this ballpark is quickly becoming a one that the pitchers are going to detest.
2-1 the count to Cheeto Martinez. The first 3 games played here were shutouts. First 4 games were shutouts. The first 3 in the opening series against Cleveland, and the Orioles went on the road to Toronto and Boston, came back home and shut out Detroit 8-0. It looked at that point like it was going to be a pitcher's park, but lately the balls have been flying out of here. Most of the damage being done by Oriole hitters. 3-2. Him out. But the Orioles pick up a run on a solo homer by Randy Milligan. They now lead the Mariners 7-4 through 7 innings. The Cannon game summary. Tim Hewlett's 3-run triple key to 5-run first inning for the Orioles. Cal Ripken has 2 hits, including a home run. And Edgar Martinez has 2 triples in the game. His 2-run triple was the key to the Mariners' big inning. David Segui takes over at first base for the Orioles. So he will bat 6th. Mike Mussina still going strong in the 8th inning, facing Edgar Martinez, who's 2 for 3 with 2 triples. Ball 1 to Martinez. Martinez 2 triples marks only the 7th time in Mariners history that the hitter has accomplished that feat, and the first time since Dave Bally had 2 in Kansas City in 1987. Got himself another base hit. What a series he's had.
Well, he certainly likes that ball upstairs in the strike zone. He's got the kind of quick bat to get around on top of those pitches. That's unusual.
He's had 7 hits in this series, and that's going to be it for Mike Mussina.
Well, Mike has shown this ball club, nevertheless, over the last several innings, that he has shut him down pitching ability out there. Because by all rights, he could still have a shutout going in this game, be leading 7-0 had that ground ball been converted into a double play.
So Johnny Oates will go to his bullpen, but another quality start by an Oriole pitcher. As Mussina gives up the leadoff single of Martinez and leaves after turning in 7 strong innings of work. This pitching change is brought to you by your local Lincoln Mercury. He faced 1 batter and gave up a single to Edgar Martinez in the 8th inning.
Yeah, well, Mussina pitched his guts out after that loose knit 3rd inning that he was involved in. And manager Johnny Oates, I can understand this to an extent here, Mel. He's trying again this season to establish the kind of strength he saw from this club out of the bullpen last year. And Froworth offers a difficult proposition for these Seattle Mariners hitters now.
And the home run by Randy Milligan is looming very big right now, because if he's not connected, Kevin Mitchell would be coming up in this situation with a chance to tie it up. One to left center field. Mike Devereaux can't get it, and it'll roll to the wall. Edgar Martinez is being waved home. Cal Ripken fires to the plate. He's safe. And it's 7-5 Orioles.
This Mariners ball club has comeback ability because they have strength up and down that batting order. But another runner advances 3 bases in a 1-stroke ball. because he got so quickly out there to that wall. And Martinez got the play in front of him anyway, and he recognized as soon as he gets the ball past Devereaux right here that he can run 270 feet.
So Froworth has faced 2 right-handed batters in this series and given up 2 base hits. Mike Flanagan, the left-hander, is up in the bullpen. John, why would Johnny Oates let Froworth pitch to the left-hander Martinez?
I think it's because Froworth is so strong, and it doesn't really make any difference whether he's pitching to right or left-handed hitters.
Called strike 2.
Well, look at the way that ball dips away from left-handed hitters right there.
Last year, left-handed hitters fared a little better than right-handers. Left-handers hit 223 against Froworth, but right-handers hit only 169. Grounded foul.
This submarine style allows these hitters now to try to pick up the ball from a different location, and that's what a manager's counting upon when you bring in that kind of a submariner.
Greg Olson is now throwing along with Flanagan in the Oriole bullpen. 1-2. Orioles 7, Mariners 5. Ripped down the line and deep. Foul ball.
Oof. Got under that ball nicely. Went right down and got it. Tried to jerk it.
Jay Buhner is on deck. Come back to the pitcher. Froworth checks Mitchell and makes the play at first for the first out. So he gets the left-handed hitter out. Will now face the right-handed swinging Jay Buhner. One of the reasons Froworth is so tough on right-handers is with that submarine delivery, hitters have a tendency to bail out.
That ball also dives in on these right-handed hitters.
Strike 1. Breaking ball at the knees.
And I was talking to Froworth the other day, Mel, and I mentioned that Dan Quisenberry, who used his same style, didn't really become the effective pitcher that he was become known as until he developed that good off-speed changeup that he threw up to the plate. And if he were ever to come up with one of those pitches right there, would practically make him into that unhittable category. Because hitters more or less commit themselves to something hard off of him. Hard fastball, hard slider.
Ground ball into right field for a base hit. Kevin Mitchell around third. Chito Martinez's throw is not in time, and it's 7-6.
So he got the lefty out, but the right-handed hitters have smoked him.
Both Mitchell and Buhner, right-handed hitters, have base hits off Froworth.
And now you're right, Mel. That home run that Milligan hit looms quite large. They threw the ball to the plate, but Chito kept the ball down low enough so that David Segui could at least provide some sort of an opportunity to catch that ball if he had to throw to second.
So an ineffective outing for Todd Froworth, facing 3 batters and giving up 2 hits. And allowing an inherited runner to score, so he departs and Mike Flanagan comes in to face Greg Briley. The switch hitting Dave Cochran, who made a pinch hitting appearance in last night's game and grounded out. Flanagan pitched last night. He came in with runners at first and third in the 8th inning and got Ken Griffey Jr. to ground into a force play to end the inning.
Well, manager Johnny Oates is trying to find the right solution from the bullpen. The Mariners have reignited that dormant offense we saw over the last several innings.
Ball 1 to Cochran, who's hitting .308 on the season.
And if they can score again, it's going to come at the expense of Mike Flanagan.
Cal Ripken jogs in to talk with Flanagan.
Lower to bat.
Mariners have scored twice in the 8th inning to cut the Orioles lead to 1 run, 7-6. Two and 0. inside, and it's 3-0. After Cochran, a right-handed batter, Dave Valley. Greg Olson is still throwing in the bullpen. Ball 4. Flanagan walks the pinch hitter Cochran on 4 pitches.
Well, usually
it for him.
Yeah, the usually effective bullpen relief has faltered this afternoon.
So Froworth struggled, giving up 2 hits and allowing a run to score. Flanagan walks Cochran. And now Greg Olson will get the call, trying to quell this uprising by the Mariners.
Well, there wasn't much of a chance with Flanagan coming in that he was going to see a left-handed hitter.
So we'll again step out as the Mariners have put runners at first and second with only 1 out.
The Mariners have fire in their eyes right now at the plate, and this comeback is not a distortion. This ball club is more than capable of coming back in a game that everyone thought they might have been out of.
Pete O'Brien will pinch hit for Dave Valley.
Looks like he saved his bench.
Ken Griffey Jr. must be hurt to the point where he can't even swing a bat, because you'd think he'd be up in this situation if he could swing. He didn't play today because of a bad back. He must really be hurting. Olson last night had his first 1-2-3 inning of the season. And one of the batters he faced was Pete O'Brien, who was a designated hitter. He got him to ground to first. There's the injured Ken Griffey Jr. Strike 1 to O'Brien. O'Brien is 1 for 10 lifetime against Greg Olson. Check swing, foul ball, and it's 0-2. As O'Brien swung.
Oh, Olson out-muscled him in that at-bat. He's got good heat against that short swing of O'Brien's, and anything upstairs, you just can't catch up to it.
So Olson punches out the pinch hitter Pete O'Brien for the second out. That'll bring up the number 9 hitter Rich Amaral, who is facing Greg Olson for the first time.
Yeah, ideally when you pinch hit, you don't want to get up there very quickly and then get 2 quick strikes on you. It's a death wish.
Ground ball on the left side. Hewlett to second for the force. So Olson puts out the fire, but the Mariners pick up a couple of runs and cut the Orioles lead to 7-6.
First half of last season because of a strained shoulder, and didn't really show the consistent velocity when he did come back to pitch for the Mariners.
Base hit down the left field line. Tim Hewlett leads off with his 3rd hit of the game. He's working on the cycle. He has a triple, a double, and now a single.
He's gotten the toughest out of the way, that triple, but and as close as this game is, there's no telling how long it's going to be played.
And you would have to figure Jeff Tackett is up there to bunt.
Well, that's what the Mariners think. You need the breathing room that another run would give the Orioles.
Ball 1 to Tackett.
They're absolutely smothering him at the plate. Tino Martinez is coming down from first. Both Martinezes are coming in. Pitcher's charging in.
Tackett gets the bunt down. Good play. And he moves the runner into scoring position. Nice job by Jeff Tackett.
It took a perfect bunt to make it work, and that's what it was.
And Brady Anderson will try to get the run home.
Well, the guys who don't play a lot, they have to make sure that their short game is in order. And evidently, Jeff's is. Let's see how
what will the Mariners do with Brady Anderson now with first base open?
Right.
Brady has hit .423 with men in scoring position this year.
Well, that's why you got to pitch him carefully. I'm not so sure they're aware of those numbers.
They're going to pitch to him.
If they think they can get him out, they will pitch to him. That doesn't mean they'll be oblivious to the open spot at first.
Strike one.
The way Schooler used to pitch, he wouldn't have to pitch around anyone.
When he's healthy and in top form, Schooler is one of the best closers in baseball. He had 33 saves in 1989, 30 in 1990, and then last year suffered from the shoulder problems and missed half the year. One and one. Brady Anderson is 1 for 5 lifetime against Schooler.
Well, that sinking fastball and hard slider that Brady's looking at now from Mike Schooler is probably one of the best two-pitch combinations from a short reliever in baseball.
In the hole, base hit. Hewlett it right. He's going to stop at third. The shortstop Amaral dove and knocked it down, but was unable to come up with it. It's a base hit for Brady.
But you can credit Amaral with a save on that dive. It looked like the ball was going to roll a little further away from him than it did, but it slowed down on that grass.
Cal Ripken Sr. was set to wave Hewlett home and then threw up the stop sign. That's the Orioles' 11th hit of the game. Mark McLemore will switch around and bat left-handed. He's hit the ball hard twice today, batting right-handed. A line drive single to center in the first inning and a long fly ball in the second, which was caught by center fielder Henry Cotto. First and third, one out. 7-6 Orioles. They got the squeeze on. He gets a bunt down, and the Orioles get a run. And McLemore is safe at first. Anderson goes to third. The squeeze play on, and McLemore comes through to make it 8-6.
But you realize the confidence that manager Johnny Oates has to have in McLemore's ability to get this ball down, with especially being a left-handed hitter. And this throw going wide right here, and watching Brady going from first to third base and taking advantage of the third baseman coming in for this bunt here. Boy, all around tough, hustling ability.
So it's a bunt single and a run batted in for Mark McLemore. And the Orioles now lead 8-6 and have Cal Ripken up with 2 men on. What a play by McLemore.
You can tell he's done that before, just like opening clams. Once you get the knack of it, you can do it just about any time.
The Orioles piling up the runs, averaging almost 8.5 runs, and they've got 8 today. Johnny Oates put the squeeze on, and McLemore has delivered.
A work to perfection.
Strike one to Cal Ripken.
There's no way that the Mariners could have rightfully expected that McLemore would have dropped that ball down in a squeeze situation. It's a complete surprise.
Foul ball, and it's 0-2 to Cal. He's never had a hit off Mike Schooler. He's 0 for 4 lifetime against him.
But he's swinging the bat much better right now.
In 2 at-bats against starter Rich DeLucia, he had a double and a home run.
You gain energy by exerting energy, and that's how you hit the ball with authority. That's what Cal's doing right now.
Breaking ball is blown away. Schooler has an excellent slider when he's pitching well. fastball is skied foul off first base. It'll reach the seats. 8 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error for the Orioles. 6 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for the Mariners. The Orioles jumped out to a 6-0 lead. The Mariners came back with 4 runs in the third. Now the Orioles have opened up an 8-6 lead on a squeeze bunt by McLemore. Cal strikes out.
That was a nasty pitch, whatever it was. Certainly didn't look like his usual slider or fastball. Look at the bottom fall out of it.
Close the windows.
Yeah.
Sam Horn is up.
Oh, customers.
Sam thinks on a good day, right conditions, right pitch, he can reach the warehouse.
Well, he have not hit those fellows. Those fellows are up there about the 8th floor.
Schooler works him away, and it's ball 1. Sam is 1 for 4 today. He had a single in the second inning off Rich DeLucia. Schooler's behind on him 2-0. Horn is 2 for 4 in his career against Schooler.
Schooler's not out there reading the Sunday papers. Fastball and that slider that you mentioned, Mel, get a batter's attention in a hurry. Tried to bait him on that high fastball right there. I don't think he wants to pitch to him.
If Horn gets on, the bases would be loaded for Mike Devereaux, who had a grand slam home run on Friday.
Greg Riley, who has already exited the game.
All 4 of the bases are loaded. Mariners showing a lot of respect for Sam Horn.
Yeah, you bet.
Oh, Mike Devereaux, who had a grand slam home run Friday night, comes up again with the bases loaded. Orioles 8, Mariners 6 with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Looks like Johnny Oates is going to send in a pinch runner, Luis Mercedes.
Well, you like to get you like to get as much speed out there as you can, although he's at the tail end of the line there.
Mercedes will run for Horn.
Running for Sam Horn, number 11, Luis Mercedes.
There's no place for him to become adventurous.
Bases loaded, 2 outs as Devereaux steps in. Mike is 0 for 3 with a walk today. Slider away, ball 1. Looks like Schooler struggling a little bit with his control.
Well, he's trying to tease these hitters instead of rearing back and throwing the ball the way he can.
Got under it. Towering pop-up on the left side. Edgar Martinez into foul ground. And that does it, but the Orioles pick up a run on a squeeze bunt by Mark McLemore at the end of 8. They lead Seattle 8-6. Youngest pitcher in Major League history to accomplish that feat. Greg is 25 years, 204 days old. We don't have the minutes or the seconds. The youngest pitcher to record 100 saves is Bruce Sutter, who did it at the age of 26 years, 224 days in 1979 with the Cubs. Strike 1 to Harold Reynolds, leading off the 9th. Reynolds has gone 2 for 4 this afternoon. Ground ball knocked down by Tim Hewlett. Picks it up, fires, and gets it. It was a tough play with Hewlett playing in, trying to take the bunt away from Reynolds, and he had a bullet that almost got by him.
Yeah, but has he been an influential component of this game or what? Offensively, defensively, here in the late inning, providing the stopping power to keep that lead runner off base.
The Orioles began the day percentage points ahead of the Toronto Blue Jays and in first place in the East. Toronto and Milwaukee are tied 1-1 in the 6th inning. 1-0 to Henry Cotto, who's 0 for 4 today. Beaten foul. Cotto playing in center field today in place of the injured Ken Griffey Jr. For a strike, and it's 1-2. Olsen has looked very sharp the last 2 nights. He's had several rough outings early this year when he's put men on base, giving up walks and hits, but he's had great stuff the last 2 games. 2-2. Edgar Martinez, the hitting machine, waiting on deck.
Olsen has begun taking a little bit off of that breaking ball, and we saw that on that curveball he threw for a strike, and then he overthrew that pitch the next time.
Breaking ball bounced to third, off the chest of Hewlett. Cal Ripken grabs it, but will have no play.
I'll tell you, Timmy Hewlett has been in the middle of everything this afternoon.
And he'll be charged with an error, his 2nd of the game.
And there's not a thing you can do when you get caught in the middle like this. You can't come in because it's too late. You can't go back far enough to be able to read it properly, and then by that time it's too late. The guy's at first.
And that'll bring up Edgar Martinez, who has 3 hits today and is 7 for 12 in this series. He represents the tying run.
A little sniff of freedom here in the 9th inning.
He lifts one high in the air to deep center field, but playable for Mike Devereaux. 2 outs in the 9th.
He just missed it.
So the Orioles are 1 out away from sweeping the Mariners, but Olsen has to face another tough customer in Kevin Mitchell, who ripped one to the gap in left center in the 8th inning for a double. Mitchell was the first man Ole faced in the 9th inning last night. He got him on a ground out to short. This big guy will bust loose soon. You just hope it doesn't happen here.
Well, they've held the door open for themselves here in the 9th inning. That's all you could ask for.
There goes the runner. And the Orioles let Cotto go to second base. Strike 1 to Mitchell. Kevin Mitchell has hit more home runs than any other major league player over the last 3 years. 109 of them. 0-2, but you can see how he's bailing out.
Yeah, well, you don't see many breaking balls like that.
Get out the brooms. Strikes out Kevin Mitchell, and the Orioles have swept the Seattle Mariners. And Greg Olsen becomes the youngest pitcher in Major League history to record 100 saves. Tremendous win for the Orioles. A little bit of everything in this one. Home runs, fine defense. Good pitching by Mike Mussina. Some erratic relief out of the bullpen, and